everyone, it's Lee with thebeautifullee.com, and since I'm determined to have it be fall here in South Florida, I decided I would do some fall milk bath nails. My base color I chose was Havana from Bella Hoot. I chose this color because I felt that it gave a little bit more warmth to the nails and made them a lot more fall-like. Of course, I took my white, which you would typically use for your base, and mixed it with the clear to come up with a milky white, and used the clear to further encapsulate the flowers on the nails so that when I was drilling, I was not drilling into either the milky white unless I chose to, or into the nails. So let's get started. What I've done is already apply my tips. I've pushed back my cuticles, and now I am sanding down the ridge from the edge of the tip to the nail and taking the shine off of the tip that's on my nail. I find that this helps with doing dip nails or acrylics. It does give you a much smoother line, helps you create a nicer apex where you're not having to worry about going back and filling in gaps and, building areas up. The tips that I used are the clear tips. I do prefer those over any other kind of tip that I've used. I find that they wear very well and they're really true to color on your nail. So as I'm finishing this up, as you can see, I'm only doing one hand today. I did go back the next day and actually put it on both hands because I was going to do one hand one way and one hand another, but I just can't do that. I don't know why, but whatever. I did go back with my very fine sanding bit and tip off the edges or the corners so that they weren't sharp. I would like to do that before I go into the shaping of the physical nail, just because I tend to have an itch and scratch my eye, and you know how that goes. And these corners can be really, really sharp. So, as I stated, I am going to begin to prep the rest of my nails. My cuticles have already been pushed back. What I'm doing now is I'm going to take my nail dehydrator. This is a product that I absolutely love. It's great for prepping your nails. I grabbed the wrong bottle. I wanted to show you the bottle before I did it. This is for Model 1. It's a great nail dehydrator. It takes very little. I put it on my natural nail. What that's going to do is it's going to remove any little pieces of dust as well as clean any oils from your nails, which are going to help prevent lifting. As I've shared in other videos, I'm a person who lifts so much. It's not funny. Like I've said on many occasions, I actually used to have to go back to the orthodontist once a week or so to have one of my braces that popped off glued on. So that's just a part of my body chemistry. As you do your nails, you're going to learn your body chemistry, and you just need to adjust for it. I'm starting out, like I said, with Havana, which is this really beautiful kind of nude, natural color. I wanted to do something a little bit warmer than the pure white that you'd usually use on the milk bath nails, because I felt the white looks great for springtime, but for the fall I just wanted that little hint of fall in it. I also got one of our swatch sticks out so that I could do a combination of the dipping and the pouring depending on how easy it was for me to get my nails into the pots. I am applying one coat of my base coat. When I'm doing this, typically you'll see me start with a clear base coat. Because this color is not going to stain my nails, it's a natural, I don't have to put that extra layer of clear under there. Clear is a great protector to prevent any of the really bright, really vibrant powders from staining your nails. This is a very natural nude looking color, so it's not going to stain my nails. I begin by applying the base coat from just about a hair from the cuticle to the end of the acrylic nail. I just do a nice thin even coat. As you can see, just brushing it on, making sure that it's well coated but not thick. When you get them thick, you get too much and they get too bulky. These nails by themselves, because of the dried flowers on there, do tend to get a little bulkier, but I believe that the effect is worth it. So at first I started with the pouring, and I just really was not liking that. I'm like, got to do something else. So I did dip my nail in, and then I did take my swatch stick again and just kind of get the spots that I missed dipping it in. If you have longer nails, sometimes it will be that you do need to pour up by the cuticle part of your nail. Went ahead, dipped it, shook it off a little bit, looked to see if there was anywhere else I needed to go. Did find there was a little bit extra I needed to hit with the powder. Shook it off again, and then I'm going to let it just set for a minute. This is my first time using this beautiful Havana color. I'm really, really liking it. I think this would be a great color to do if you're doing a French manicure. Use this on the nail bed portion of your nail, whether you do white or clear or any other color. This is a great, just really natural, really neutral looking color. But it also has that warmth that, that gives you that fall feel. Because white is great for spring because everything's like crisp and everything. And it'd be great for if I do winter milk bath nails, which I'm seriously considering doing. But for fall, for spring, white, for winter white, summer, I would probably do more of a neutral, but maybe not quite this one. I might do more of a pinky color for summer if I was doing a milk bath. As long as you're using a really pale color, it's fine. Just contrast it with your flowers, of course, and make sure the flowers reflect the season that you're representing. And so here I'm going through and I'm doing each of the nails, dipping them in. I do hold it for just a second just to give it a moment for the base coat to absorb that powder. I brush off excess because that's just like my thing. I can't stand a lot of excess on my fingers. If you're a person that doesn't mind if you have excess on your fingers until you've done all 5, you do not have to brush off immediately. I did go back and do a second coat to these because I wanted to make sure I had a very solid color base, and I wanted as true a color to the color of this dip powder as possible. So I did do 2 coats before I began putting the powders, or the flowers on rather. Here we go, finishing up my pinky. I didn't show the second coat application. It's very similar. You do the exact same steps. So now I've got my nails coated. Missed a little bit of powder under my nail. Brush that off and I'm good to go. So now let's talk about the flowers. I have these jasmine buds. These are some lily flowers that are dried. I will put a link to these down in my description. Some lavender buds, which smelled amazing. These are, I can't read the name, but some more straw flowers, some red straw flowers that my dear dog Quincy decided was treats. These are the forget-me-not flowers, which are always beautiful. I love that purple. And then I have the tea leaves, and finally some straw flowers. These came in a variety of browns and golds. I did just choose one gold flower to take some petals off of to use on these nails. I really liked the fall colors with that little bit of purple in it. As I said, I'm not really a fall person. For me to have that little touch of purple, it makes me work better with fall, if that makes sense. Purple's a color I wear a lot of, so these are just nails that, they go with a lot of what I wear. I like the combination. I can even stand the orange and green on the same nail, which is one of my pet peeves. But that's another story for another day. So I did take the petals and I snipped them up into littler pieces and put them in a Ziploc bag. I can go in and use these petals anytime. I made way more than I needed for my nails, but I wanted to make sure I had a nice selection of sizes and the colors and everything to choose from as I did them. This is a wax pickup pencil, wax pencil, that is probably one of the best tools I have ever had when I'm doing my nails. It did not work really great with the nail petals, but for doing stones and everything, this is a definite must-have, and I highly recommend this. I'll put a link to that one down as well. I did get it from Amazon. What I'm doing now is I'm starting on my thumbnail again. I am applying the base coat a little bit thicker this time because at this point I'm going to need to adhere some things into the base coat. So I do want it thicker than normal. Going into my bag, I'm choosing a petal. I really didn't have any particular design in mind. I just wanted random petals. I did end up putting the wax pencil down as it rolled away, and I used a dampened orange stick to apply these. Just basically took my little piece of petal, pressed it onto my nail, went and chose my next color. This is where I used like kind of a combination to see what I could get and what I couldn't get, and applied it onto the nail. Now, some of these, you may want to do them smaller, you may want to do them bigger. When you do put your milky white color on, you do lose some of the definition of the flower, which is great. That gives you that kind of like milk bath with the petals floating in it look. So you may want some longer, and just know that some of them are not going to be exposed. I did use a variety of the flowers on each nail. I will say though that as much as I loved lavender buds, and I love my lavender buds, they smell amazing, but they were just too bulky for my nail. So I'd either have to cut just the little tips off and use those individually, which I thought would be kind of a pain, or I just went away and did without the lavender buds at all, which is the decision that I made. As you can see, and you'll see on this nail when I turn it, that lavender bud is just way too thick. I was trying to get one of each of the flower petals on the nails, but it didn't work. I like the variety. They all kind of have most of the colors on every nail, and I do like that they're not all identical, which to me is kind of fun. So once I did that, I did take my base coat again and I dabbed it around to make sure that wherever I needed adhesion, I could add the extra adhesion to the flowers to make sure that they were tacked down well for my next dip. And I didn't really brush with this. I more, as you can see, just spotted and dotted it on. I wasn't really concerned about the bulk. You do have the bulk of the flowers that you are going to contend with. So you don't have to worry necessarily about this being so flat or not bulky or anything. Here I'm just pressing it down. I'm going to let the nail polish or the base cure a minute and go on to the next nail. And I did repeat this for all 5, eventually 10 nails. I'm going to just talk a little bit more through this. As you see, you can see the thickness of that one lavender bud on that thumbnail. And I did, like I said, opt to get away from those. So as I let you all watch this, I did speed this up a little bit. Those are the forget-me-nots. I found that if you nipped through them and kind of fanned them out a little bit better, they worked a lot nicer. I didn't worry if I put sometimes 2 purples on the same nail or 2 greens or 2 yellows. I just found that I went for a very kind of abstract look, just as long as I had some representation of the colors, and they made me feel fall-like. I did typically put that red straw flower on every nail, though. I just kind of liked that little bit of pink. It made me feel a little bit less warm colored and a little bit cooler colors, because I'm a cool color person. So I will go ahead and skip ahead to when they're all done. These are what my nails looked like. I didn't worry about some of the flowers hanging over. I knew those would come off in filing. Here is the milky white color I made. I just basically mixed, I believe I did 3 parts clear to 1 part white, so that it's a very translucent white color. It did lighten the color of my base a hair, but not enough to worry about. So this is the milky white swatch that I had done, and you can kind of see the flowers through it. This is multiple dips of the white. I was playing to see what I did. When I did these, I did 1 dipping in the white. Now, I don't want you to get concerned, but you are going to see these nails bulk up a lot. It's not a bad thing. It did take me a little bit longer in filing because of the flow of the flowers, for lack of a better term, but overall they filed very easily with my e-file. I had really no problems with shaping them and getting them to a nice shape, and having the flowers show through in a really, from what I look at it as a very artistic looking nail, kind of almost like a watercolor effect with these, which I really, really liked. And I'll probably be experimenting with a little bit more. Again, I did do this a little bit heavier. I wanted to make sure I got it on the petals. Next time I may do it a little bit thinner. I was also using a very used bottle of our base coat, which has done, I think 25 sets of nails. So I really can't complain about it maybe being a little thicker than it should have been. I did go ahead and pour the milky white on, and then I did just eventually just dip it in once it had something to solidify against. Obviously I'm going to tap it off, and I did go in and brush off immediately. As you can see, these are very kind of bulky at this point. Again, you can see the kind of milk bath effect. I am going to go over these again with one coat of clear just to give me a little bit more to, that's me finally giving up on that lavender, but held on till the very end. I did go over with one more layer of clear so that I had something that I could file down to. I did in my filing sculpt out these petals a little bit, in the fact that if I thought I needed a little bit more color in an area, I would drill a little bit deeper and smooth it back out. So they still came out very nicely rounded with a nice apex to them, a nice shape to them, but I got the clarity of the colors that I wanted to show through. So here I'm just going to continue doing all of these nails. And you are going to see little white marshmallows grow on my fingers. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing at this moment, but oh, I was gluing them down. You can see there's extra glue on there. I'm getting it ready to go into that one forget-me-not I hadn't split in half yet, and it was giving me a challenge. It kept wanting to curl back up on itself. So definitely when you get those little flowers, cut them so that they do lay flat. That will help you a lot in doing these milk bath nails. And as you can see, they're just kind of very randomly placed. That's my red straw flower that liked to move around a lot. I'm going to take my pouring stick, kind of do my first quote-unquote dip with just a pour to make sure that everything adheres properly like I did on the last one. And I will continue on and eventually dip it in. So I will stop talking for a moment and let you guys just kind of watch the process, and I will be back. I'm back again sooner than I thought. I did kind of press everything down to get the nail as smooth as possible, where some lumps were just a little bit too bulky for my taste. So I did press them down, making sure that the petals were adhered properly, as well as the powder itself, because you don't want this to not cure properly. Once I got all that done, I did apply my activator, and then I began my filing. Like I said, it really was not that big of a challenge to file these down. I'm using a I think this is a fine sander actually. I did it all e-file. I am taking, as you can see, a lot of product off, but it's just to get it smoothed out and into a decent nail shape. Here I am again, just filing it down. It looks like I'm doing a lot more filing than I am. The filing on these was relatively quick. On this one, you can see where I did go in a little bit deeper to get some of that darker purple to show up. I go around my cuticles with this. I love these drill bits. They will also be placed below in the description. They are titanium colored, which is just fun in general. It has the little ball one to go around your cuticles. It has this great fine filer that has the rounded edge so it doesn't cut your cuticles, which is just great, especially if you're doing your less dominant hand. Just cleaning up the edges, going across, smoothing everything down. You can see that the colors are coming through in varied gradients. which is really the milk bath effect that I was going for. I'm going to taper down the ends a little bit, make sure I get the nails looking exactly how I want them before I go ahead and put my top coat on. And as I said, you know, this is my first time doing these milk bath nails. I will say they were way more fun than I thought they'd be. They came out way more gorgeous than I thought they would. Just because of the colors. It's just, like I said, I'm not a fall person. I am a jewel-toned glitter girl, you know. So unless it's Halloween or that kind of theme, I'm not really a big fall person, except for I do love the change in weather, which is so refreshing and so nice.
If you go ahead with the mastectomy,
here I am drilling through, cleaning these up, looking at all the edges, if there's any little lumps or anything that I needed to finish off. And this is pretty actual to my filing time for these nails. It's really not an extended filing process, even with, you know, like I said, here I'm refining that nail to make sure I get the color that I want showing. And I apologize for going off camera. I kept trying to be under the area. I got to come up with a system for this so that I know where my hands need to be, because it just isn't working in my brain. Finally doing my thumbnail. I did do backwards from the way I applied the dip and the flowers, but they were all fully cured. This one did take a little bit more filing. It was the first one I dipped. It was the first one I applied the flowers on. I learned as I went. You know, that's why I'm trying to share whatever tips I have with you guys so that your nails are even easier to file than these. And these were so super easy to file. Go on this, I'm just paying attention to the detail on these nails, getting, like I said, that color to show through. I'm gonna go in and make sure I have a little bit more purple, clean up my cuticles with this tool, and then I'm done. Now I'm gonna brush off the excess. I do have an emery board or a hand file here. I like to e-file first. Some people like to hand file first. You know what? If you have a system that works for you, use the system that works for you. That's all I can say. I got tired of the towel that was now covered in nail dust, so I am putting that away. I did put the blue towel down because I thought that these nails would have a little bit less contrast against my wood grain tabletop than I wanted. And as you can see, that really is the case. I'm going to go ahead and buff these so they're nice and smooth. Nice and smooth, not just nice and smooth, but really nice and nice. It's one of those days, guys. It's a Monday, right? But Mondays are good days. Making sure all the rough edges are gone. Y'all know how to buff your nails. I don't need to really, you know, give you the whole 411 on this, but I do go through, brush it off again. You are going to need to use your activator again once your filing is done. And there's my activator, and I'm using my activator again once my filing is done. What this is going to do is make sure that the product that's underneath where you've filed is hardened. The activator does that, so you activate prior to filing so that you make sure that top layer at the very least is really nice and hard and dry and ready for you. Then you go in, do your filing, go in and do your activator again to make sure that anything that wasn't activated or fully cured on these nails, you go in and just put that extra layer on to do that. You want to make really sure that you do not mix your base and your activator and your top coat, because that will harden your brushes. So I just take a lot of time. This needs to dry for about 2 minutes, so that you have a safe surface for it to for you to apply your top coat on. This system that I use with the Bella Hoot, I know you guys have heard me say this over and over. I skipped ahead. I'm going to put my top coat on now. I love this system. It's so easy to use. The colors are so great. The products just are phenomenal. And there's such a great variety of colors, of textures, that it really has made my learning how to do these dip nails really, really fun. As you can see, when you put your top coat on, the magic happens and all the colors come out. And this is where I started to see that watercolor effect, or at least in my mind it feels like a watercolor effect. I know I did drill the purples really tried and true on every nail because I do love my purple, but also just because that's more of the color that's in my wardrobe than the other ones. I don't mind having the accent colors, but I did want to make sure I did have a solid color that was representational of what I would wear. There's my finished nails for you to look at. I did go back and apply one more top coat, but that's the milk bath nails. Really easy to do. Here I'm going to do my second layer top coat. Get that really nice shine for you guys. And you know, I love them. They were great. As you can see, when you look at the shine, there's not a lot of bumps on these. They filed down so nicely. And it's really just, if you're going to do these, I recommend investing in an e-file. They're like, gosh, the one I have was like $16, I think. It came with some bits. I upgraded my bits for like another $9. Really inexpensive and really, really easy to use.
I slept with another guy.
So here's the finished product. I'm putting something away somewhere as I do this. And I hope that you have enjoyed learning how to do these milk bath nails. There we go. I'm going to add some cuticle oil and we are going to be completely done with these nails. Love the cuticle oils. Hoot has some amazing ones. I'm out of them right now, so I am using an old tried and true favorite that I got from Sally's that I have used for years and years and years. It doesn't smell as nice and it's a little bit thicker, but especially if you're in a cooler climate that's changing, sometimes a little bit thicker oil is nice in winter seasons because it's going to make sure to keep your cuticles really moisturized. Rub that in real well. I hope to see you guys soon and enjoy some of the products that I have to offer on thebeautifullee.com. Bye guys!